Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my...
Lash?
You cannot lag. You cannot lag. You physically have one job, and that is to say the intro at the exact same time. We are one flesh. You're staying until the routine is clean.
Okay.
Hello, baddies and besties, and welcome to
My Lash to Brain Cells.
Tight, Elliot. That was tight.
Wait, are we keeping the first part in?
Yes, of course. Of course, I'm not taking two takes.
No two-take Tonys here.
No. And welcome to
My Lash to Brain Cells.
I'm your host, Maddie Morris.
And I'm your host, Elliot Morris.
I hope you guys are all having a wonderful weekend before we start our
And a beautiful Black Friday.
What a beautiful Black Friday.
What a beautiful Black Friday and a
wonderful small business Saturday.
And a super cool small business Saturday.
A successful Slay Queen Sunday, and then a Cyber Monday.
And a scintillating Cyber Monday.
Listen, you guys, we're going to plug this for 5 seconds because here's the thing. If you're listening...
Don't scroll. Please, don't scroll.
I'm going to plug this for absolutely 5 seconds and no longer because I do not want this podcast to be...
Well, also, everyone who's listening to the podcast, they know.
If you're listening to this,
if
there's
you're
like
here,
a 99%
you're one of the girls.
chance that you've
You know we got a sale.
everything on the website.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
We're not going to run a sale like this for...
This is a one-time-a-year thing.
This is a one-time-a-year thing. So
And also, next year, it's not going to be the same.
no, it's not.
It's not going to be the same. Every year, this is the thing with Black Friday. Every year, we go and do something different.
Yeah.
And so if you're like, wow, an all-expensive paid trip to Lightheart, that sounds really good. Well, we probably won't do that next year.
Yeah.
Maybe we will. I don't know.
I genuinely don't want you guys to miss out.
Honestly, like we're just not going to put these on sale again, until next Black Friday.
We did a really small sale last year, and I posted like one post, and Instagram doesn't show your stuff to like a percentage of people, and people were messaging me after. They're like, because they were seeing people's stories.
They were like, I missed it.
I saved so much on Maddie's classes. I loved it. And then girls would be like, oh my gosh, I missed it. When are you going to do another sale?
Literally our one goal for this Black Friday is that no one misses it. If you want to buy something, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that it's happening and has a chance. And if you don't want to buy something, that's totally fine. I just don't want anyone to feel like they missed it.
Absolutely. So that's why we're being annoying. It's because if you want to get in on it, I don't want you guys to miss it.
So check out the Black Friday.
40% off all of our digital education products, including the online Mega Volume Masterclass, which is the most important thing during the sale.
We're wild for that.
We're honestly wild for that. I was debating putting everything on sale except for that because having it at $888 is a steal.
Yeah,
the
true.
price that it is at full price. So having it for almost half off is crazy. And then we do have the artistry bundle, the business bundle, and the bundles are slashed at 40% off. And then you're entered to win a big fat giant trip to Lightheart Studios, and we're going to pay for your flights, your hotel, a gigantic suitcase of lash products, and we're going to kiss you on the mouth, and we're going to hold hands and run through a field, and we're going to be best friends forever. That is the number one.
That is the prize.
And you come to the in-person Mega Volume training. Second prize is you get a mentoring call with me, and we are going to fix your business. And that's invaluable. I love helping people with those mentoring calls. I do them a couple times a month, and they're really, really impactful. I take them very seriously.
Oh, yeah. We do research.
Yeah, it says they're 1 hour, but honestly, usually they end up being about 2.
Yeah.
And you'll also win a $500 gift card. And third runner-up, you also get a $500 gift card. And 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th runner-up, I might be giving you a little present too.
What? Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, you're crazy.
Yep.
We didn't even talk about that.
Yep.
Dang.
I didn't even tell Elliot.
You guys, she's wild.
This is a Maddie exclusive.
Ooh, dang.
Yeah, this is a secret sale. Elliot doesn't even know about it.
She's just giving stuff away.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about branding. And as you guys know, we only make episodes that you want. And I had quite a few DMs last week when I asked for podcast suggestions. And a lot of you said you need help on your branding. You don't know how to brand yourself. And it's something we're not taught in school. That's why we have this podcast, because we're going to teach you the stuff that you don't learn in school.
Yeah, welcome to the school of hard knocks.
Yeah, and that we had to figure out kind of on our own the hard way. I've never taken a branding class, a marketing class.
Yeah, you should have seen our branding at the beginning.
Oh my
garbage.
Gosh. Honestly, I'll take the blame for it. Elliot wasn't involved in my business for the first, several years.
Yeah, and it showed.
And it tell you what, working with your
I said I gotta come in here and get it ship shape.
Elliot loves
turn this boat around.
Elliot and I love Lightheart so much. It is our whole life. We pour everything we have into Lightheart. And so it honestly kind of keeps me accountable. Like, I have to make sure that like our brand looks good, our posts look good, our like I respond to messages well. I have to make sure that everything is so shipshape because I'm like, I don't want to disappoint Elliot. And I don't want to disappoint you in our branding too. I want us to have sick branding.
Yeah.
But let me just tell you, when I first started my lash business, I, like a multitude of other lash artists, had pretty bad branding.
No, don't say that. I thought Maddie the Lash Lady was so good.
Maddie the Lash Lady slayed. She slayed
so hard.
The house down.
She had an incredible
business card.
Mm-hmm. What was it? Zazzle?
It was Zazzle. It was actually Vistaprint. I couldn't afford.
Yeah, Zazzle's a little fancy.
Yeah,
it was an incredible Vistaprint stock photo. Card.
I'll tell you what it was. When I first started my
first
started my lash business, originally, I mean, honestly, this was like when I was still working at the day spa. I tried like giving myself a little bit of an identity, and then they were like, "Why are you calling yourself Maddie the Lash Lady?" And I was like, "Well, I just thought my clients call me that,
just thought it'd be cool."
I put it on a business card with.
And they said, "Don't do that."
I made a business card with it said Maddie the Lash Lady, Maddie, and then the salon phone number. And
you had the salon phone number.
Yeah, and then it had like a floral border, and then it had a picture of like the typical like Microsoft Word eyelashes clip art in the middle.
Beautiful.
And I probably spent like a couple $100 on business cards and flyers and aftercare sheets and like paper products, and I was giving them out to my clients while I worked at the salon, like
doing Groupons for free.
Like I had so much loyalty for nothing.
For what?
And so when I went on my own for honestly maybe like 3 days, I was like, oh, I'll just be called Maddie the Lash Lady. But then I wanted to separate myself entirely. I wanted to separate, my image from the salon, my reputation, everything. So then I made up a new business name. So Maddie the Lash Lady, although it was short-lived, that was my original. I loosely used the word brand, but that was what I originally called myself. And a lot of lash artists, we start out as like, blank the Lash Lady, lashes by blank, totally cool.
Our most special bestie in the entire world is still doing it.
Who?
Katie the Lash Lady.
No. Katie's rebranded. She's Lightheart Katie, baby.
Wait, like with her clients too?
Yes.
Really?
I mean, Katie has a sign in her room that says Katie the Lash Lady.
Every time I go in her room, it says Katie the Lash Lady. I'm like, slay.
Katie's rebranding.
Hell yeah.
Katie's getting a whole room makeover.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
She's gonna lightheartify it?
Yeah, I'm gonna have Extreme Home Makeover. That guy,
Let's
Ty. I'm
go.
gonna have him come in, and I'm gonna just.
You're gonna be like, what's the one from Queer Eye?
Jonathan Van Ness.
You're gonna be No, not Jonathan. Jonathan's the hair one.
Oh.
No, the builder one.
Oh, there's Anthony and Jonathan and Tan for fashion and
literally the last one.
Who's the home guy?
Okay, there's Anthony's the cooking one.
Yes.
And then we're talking about them like they're Pokemon.
I absolutely
the
collect
hair
them
one.
all. I absolutely love Queer Eye. My mom and I watch Queer Eye. Who's
I don't know. I feel bad.
The home builder.
But that one. That's the one we're talking about.
The therapist is he's so lovely. I love him.
Okay, we can't. We're gonna have so much dead space on the podcast. You can't take the time to look it up.
I need to give him a shout out.
Okay, they don't need a shout out from us.
Queer Eye cast. Karamo is the therapist. Anthony is the chef.
The chef.
Bobby is the home guy.
Bobby, see, that's too straight of a name. That's why we couldn't think of it.
Bobby is the
like Anthony. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Anthony's a little fruity. Yeah. No, but Bobby. Yeah, I'm gonna have Bobby come into Katie's lash room and deck it out, and that's gonna be her rebrand.
What if we got Katie on Queer Eye?
I'm sure Katie would love Queer Eye.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm absolutely obsessed with it. What were we talking about?
We were talking about branding.
Okay, so my second
oh yeah, your second brand.
Yeah.
In a spark of genius.
Also, can I tell you a story about Jonathan Van Ness really fast?
Okay.
I'm sure you guys all know who Jonathan Van Ness is, JVN. So I love Jonathan Van Ness. And I was at Cosmoprof back in June or July, and I'm walking the floor, and all these people are like, they work in product, they work in like the manufacturing space.
This is so funny.
And
this is such a funny story.
And I go up to this booth, and they were the people that made the JVN hair products. Like they made the packaging, they made the products and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm not like exposing any trade secrets of like who makes this stuff, but I'm just saying they made the JVN stuff. And I go, oh my gosh, I love Jonathan Van Ness. And the woman goes, oh, she knows Jonathan. Wow, you know Jonathan.
And then she immediately went to like one of her colleagues and she was like, hey, are you on the JVN team? Or do you know like someone on the JVN team?
Because she knows Jonathan.
She knows Jonathan.
And I was like, wait.
And we were like, whoa, like not like that.
I was like, we're not like best friends.
No, like I've seen him around.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Like,
and lucky for us, none of the JVN team was there.
Yeah,
but it was just so funny.
So Jonathan, if you're listening to this, we're besties.
Yeah, according to the people at your hair manufacturer.
Yeah, I'm your biggest fan. So hit me up if you ever want a really pretty natural slay set of lashes. I'll give it to you. If you give me a blowout, I just want you to blow out my hair so bad.
So hard.
We could trade. We could do a photo shoot.
We could do a trade.
I have a whole set.
I bet Jonathan's trading.
No, listen, Jonathan.
Jonathan, you do trades.
Listen, Jonathan Van Ness. I have a whole setup in my own home. Not even our suites. It can be private. Yeah. It can be luxurious. I have all the lighting, all the setup, the backdrops, the beds, everything. You just come. I'll do the most beautiful set of lashes on you you've ever had in your life. We're gonna have a photo shoot, and then you can give me a blowout.
Perfect.
I won't even charge you.
Won't even charge you. Complimentary. It's on the house, babe.
Yeah. Okay. And so Katie's light hair Katie now.
Love.
Katie's.
Fully.
Katie lives and breathes Lightheart
That
Katie.
Is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Even Elliot's rebranded. He's Lightheart Elliot now.
Lightheart Elliot.
Elliot was like your full government name before?
Yeah, it was my God-given name.
Yeah, no, now your government name is Lightheart Elliot.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So after I was Maddie the Lash Lady, I became Wildflower Lash.
In a spark of genius, she created
In
Wildflower Lash.
I did absolutely zero research, and I honestly just picked a name out of a hat.
You know what I like? Wildflowers.
Yeah, I was like, I really like flowers, and I'm kind of wild. So I picked Wildflower Lash. And that was my name for a few years, and it was great. It wasn't trademarkable, and also I was moving to a place where there were like existing salons and studios and artists that also were named Wildflower Lash, and so that alone, I knew.
Wildflower lasted about a year and a half.
About a year and a half, and I've been Lightheart ever since. So that's kind of my branding journey. But my personal brand has been building. It's been building throughout that entire process, because your brand is
not your name.
Your brand is not your name. And a lot of people think it is. I see on Facebook groups all the time.
True.
I'm rebranding. Help me pick a name. I'm thinking of Lash Boss or Lash Babe. And I'm like, that's not a rebrand.
That's not a rebrand.
You're just going from a name to a name.
Yeah.
But I want you guys to have brands and build brands that you love and that you care about and that can, give yourself a name for your business. Beyond just the actual name of your business. So, Elliot, what are our talking points today?
So our talking points today are, number one, we're going to talk about how to pick a name and how to know if it's taken, because, that is something that people ask us about all the time.
It is a part of your branding, is your name.
But
it's a part of it.
But I really want to point out that a brand is not just some colors and a logo and a name.
Absolutely not.
And then we're gonna, talk about what brand is. So let's just go into like how to pick a name first, and then we can get into like the real stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna look up the definition of branding.
Wow. Crazy. What does it say, Madison? Enlighten us.
Oh, it actually
educate us.
It actually gave me the wrong definition. The action of marking with a branding iron.
If you guys were wondering what branding is, just know that Merriam-Webster is wrong. And they don't know.
Yeah, I googled branding and it said marking a cow with an iron rod.
Yeah.
Okay, honestly, these definitions
still
the process of building a positive perception.
Don't listen to Google or Merriam-Webster. Listen to us.
Branding, well, some people
we know.
Elliot, this podcast can also be for beginners. And what if a beginner doesn't know what branding is?
Okay. Oh, that's a good point.
I would like to explain it to them.
That was good. That was very presumptuous.
I don't want to assume that everybody knows everything.
That's very true.
Because when I was starting out, did I know what a brand was?
No. I knew Coca-Cola was a brand.
Yeah. How do you define branding? Branding and marketing refers to the process of building a positive perception of your company, products, and services using marketing communications such as email, social media, print, advertising, and more.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's
the most
facts.
Basic sense.
That's facts.
So number one.
Okay, so how do they pick a name and know if it's taken?
Number one.
Yes.
Most basic thing you can do. If it sounds like it's taken, it probably is.
If it's Lash and then any version of Boss, Slay, Queen, Lash, Mama, Lash,
Baby,
Baddie, Lash, Baby, it's taken.
Box,
Lash
Cube,
it's
Lash Rectangle, Lash Square.
I am rectangular.
Yeah, any version of Lash something, it is probably taken.
And also, you don't want, you can do better than that.
Yeah.
You can do better than Lash blank.
Yeah.
So rule out all those names.
Not saying those names are bad. If you have one and like you're an original, like, amazing.
If you have that name already and it's working for you, no need to change it. But if you're starting like a new thing, just skip the lash somethings.
Yeah, because it's a phase we all go through. And if it's your final phase, totally cool if that's your final form. But I'm saying it probably is taken.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like if you're a service provider in a like specific location and you're not trying to expand like out of your immediate area and you're just taking clients, it doesn't matter if it's taken in like Hoboken, okay? It doesn't matter if it's taken somewhere else.
Still living in Anchorage, Alaska,
Wildflower would have been fine.
I honestly would have stuck to Wildflower because it was whimsical. It was like my clientele really loved my name. It was cute.
Yeah.
But because
no need to change it.
I wanted to expand into number one, the digital space.
Yep.
And the education market.
Yeah.
And who knows what other markets.
Yep.
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
I don't know what the future holds.
Me neither. No one can know.
Nobody can know.
That is only for God to know.
And if you want to break into something that is like outside of you doing lashes in your hometown, totally fine if you don't. But if you're listening to this podcast, you probably do. Then you really want to have something that isn't taken.
That isn't taken and that you can get a trademark on.
That's what I wanted to hit on. Is it trademarkable?
Yeah.
How does someone know if something is trademarkable?
So the easiest way I'd say easiest, with quotation marks because it's not, super easy.
It's not the easiest process.
But the best way to figure it out. So there's two ways. Either you can hire a lawyer to do it for you and have them and like pay them to like help you do the whole process, which if you have decided that like I want to trademark my name, then you're going to have to hire a lawyer anyway. So you can just have them do this. But if you're just like brainstorming names and you're trying to figure out something new and you don't want to, go back and forth with the lawyer every time you have an idea for a new name to see if it's taken or not, you can go to a website. You can just Google TESS, TESS trademark search, and then just click on the first link. And it's TESS is like the United States like trademark database. And you can just use their basic word mark search. It says like this one's for new users, which is you. Mm-hmm. And then you type in your name and then you're just going to look at all the things that come up. It's just like a Google search. You put in your name and then it searches all the trademarks to see if anyone else has those. And now odds are that a bunch of things are going to come up when you type in your name. And what's important,
what you want to look for is, are they in similar industries? So the way you determine that is through this thing called IC, international classes. And so next to every trademark filing, there will be an IC, and it'll be like IC 003, which is like lash extensions. Mm-hmm. And then there's also I forget what the international class is for like beauty services, but if you're just like a service provider, you're going to want to be make sure that it's like available for beauty services. So you can just Google like the international class for beauty services and it'll pop up, and then it's just that number. And then you just want to see if your name is taken and it says that number next to it, whatever it is. So you'll probably want to make sure it doesn't say 003 next to it also, because that's lash extensions. But then if you do that search and you don't see anyone has your name, then, at that point, I would say, okay, this name is probably not taken. So then that's when I would like go to your lawyer and be like, hey, I'm thinking about trademarking this name. I like it. Can you like run a really thorough search, make sure no one has this? And then if no one does, then you can file to get the trademark done. And just for like context, filing the trademark generally costs around like $1,000. Mm-hmm. So just be prepared for that. There's like $250 of fees like that you pay the government, and then generally lawyers will charge like $750 or something like that. So it generally comes out to around $1,000. Trademarking is super important though, especially if you want to break into beyond lashing in a few years. Yeah. Very, very important. You do not want to get in trouble and change your name because of that. Very, very hard and inconvenient to do. Like there's a few Light Hearts that have trademark. One is in like the cannabis industry, so we've never had any beef with them. I think there was one Light Heart in like a dog food or something. Like there was yeah, and we have absolutely no like
there's no relation, so
no
it was
relation,
okay.
No legal
big deal.
Exactly. We have gotten in like trademark, what's the word,
battles,
fights,
wars. The trademark wars.
The Light Heart trademark war. But we won.
Yeah.
We won.
Well, so one of the things we were really glad that we had the trademark for Lightheart, because there were a couple businesses that popped up that were like named Lightheart, like lash businesses. They like same branding, named Lightheart, and we just
that's called stealing.
Yes, it would technically it would be intellectual property theft.
Yeah. Period.
And so we had the option with those people to send them like a cease and desist. We didn't end up doing that because we just reached out to them and said like, hey,
you are stealing.
This is our brand. Like, we have a trademark on this. Like, I don't want to, spend the money to have our lawyer send you a cease and desist. It was so obvious
that they just changed it.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, so sorry." Like, I don't know what their like reasoning was, but they were just like, "I'm so sorry," and then they changed it.
But it's really important to protect yourself.
And so yeah, we were really glad that we had that. And then the other thing too, the other good reason to have a trademark is that then no one else can do that to you. So like if you have a name, even if you were the first one to come up with it, and then someone else comes up with that name at a later date and then trademarks it, then they could come to you and be like, hey, I have a trademark for this name. You can't use it. And you, even if you're like, hey, I was here first, they would be like, prove it. It's going to be really hard. They would probably win. Like, it would not be nice. So just trademarking it is easy. If you have no plans to expand past like taking clients and like being a service provider in like your local area, then it's not strictly necessary. Like you don't need to do it. It can still be nice.
But a lot of people that listen to this, they really want to get into things like education and salon suites.
And if you're doing that, if you're doing anything in addition to taking clients by yourself, I would definitely recommend getting a trademark for your name.
What was the next thing on our list?
Okay, next thing on our list. So that was like the like most basic. Yeah. But I really want to talk about like how we think of brand and like what brand really is. So like you have your name, you have your colors, you have all this, but this is like very basic, very surface level. To me, a brand is what people think when they hear your name. That's really what a brand is. So if like with Lightheart Lash,
the thoughts and the imagery and the feelings that run through their head.
Exactly.
The tingle they get when they hear your name.
When you hear the name, like everyone who's listening to this, when you hear the name Lightheart Lash, Madison and I can be we have a pretty good idea of what you think of when you hear the name Lightheart Lash. And that is because we have over the last, how long has it been? 4 years? 3
for Lightheart Lash?
Yeah, for Lightheart.
4 years?
Yeah, 4. Has it been 4? Over the last 4 years with Lightheart Lash, we have been very purposeful about building a very cohesive and
gorgeous.
Clear image.
Gorgeous.
And we have a very clear voice and a very clear way that we communicate, and we have very clear values, and we try to communicate all those things as transparently as we can.
And consistently as we can.
Yep. And we have a very clear aesthetic. And by doing all that, and by not changing all the time, and not by not switching like from 4 years ago to now, our aesthetic with the company, like we've had refreshes and we've improved things.
It's elevated over time.
Absolutely.
But it does as, the
but the bones are the same.
And
Yeah. And so the budget is definitely higher now than it was at the beginning. And the logo has been improved.
Yeah, I've changed my logo like 3 times, but even the logos are still like
same
along the same
vibe.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so there's those aspects of branding are very important. Like the vibe that your brand gives. But then another, and I would say probably even more important aspect of your brand is the actions that you take that make your customers think about you in a certain way. So brand can be obviously like your aesthetic and all the visual things and all the aesthetic things that you do. But even more important than that is repeatedly taking actions that make your customers think about you in the way you want them to. So like with Lightheart Lash, for example, we want our customers, we want our audience to think about us as authorities in the lash industry. And we have...
And chances are, if you're listening to this, you probably want to as well.
Yeah, exactly. And the way that we have done that is this podcast. The
people that listen to this podcast, I literally know you guys by name because you message me all the time.
You're real ones.
Extremely smart people.
Yeah, that's true.
The people that listen to this podcast are extremely smart.
Yeah.
Very, very intelligent people.
You're the top of the top. Yeah. Top of the food chain.
Yeah.
And like this podcast also is like an example of how we've positioned ourselves as authorities. And really, I think like if you're an artist who's trying to become an authority in the lash industry, like the way you do that is by teaching, and by teaching people things they want to know, and by teaching like good information. And so like in our podcast, we really do our best to only talk about things that we know enough about to actually be informative and helpful to people. And we don't have like, our podcast is not a just like chill out and have a good time. This isn't like it's not a like the murder mystery podcast that you listen to. It's like,
it's definitely not entertaining content. We want this to be as like value packed as possible.
Exactly, because we are not trying to position ourselves as entertainers in the lash industry.
Not at all.
And so
that's why like if I post a funny reel on my page, it's just because I literally just like thought it was funny. It's never because that's my content strategy.
Exactly.
It's like I'm just trying to make the girls laugh because I saw a funny like thing.
Oh, absolutely. And you can post like funny and entertaining content while still being an educator. Like I think that's very important. You can post I think you should.
You can post primarily entertaining content if like that's your brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And we use entertaining content as a way to like spice up the educational content, right? And keep people engaged. And the core of what we do though is educational. And we're trying to help people, we're trying to help our customers and help our audience improve their lives through like in the lash industry. Mm-hmm. That is like our overarching goal. We're trying to give lash artists the tools and education to succeed and become the best they can be. Like that's the mission.
And
right?
if you ask us 3 years from now what our mission is, it's gonna be that.
It's the same.
If you asked us 3 years ago what it was like
it was that we hadn't quite articulated it as well. But that was like it was floating. It was like it was like a cloud that had yet to form a star. And then the star now is like that's our mission.
We were cooking.
We were cooking. Exactly. We were cooking it up.
We were cooking, and now dinner is served.
And now dinner is served. I like that. Okay. Yeah. So that's. Do you have any other thoughts on that?
I just think the consistency in your messaging and in your voice is so important.
Consistency is important.
And a lot of educators, you know, they'll come off like if you, it's like you have to think before you evolve into this brand. You have to think like, okay, am I going to be like extremely vocal about my opinions? And am I going to be extremely like polarizing? Am I going to be extremely...
Because that's a good way to grow, being polarizing.
It's a great way to grow. And it's not my way. And that's why I haven't grown as quickly as a lot of people like can. But that's because... And there's been so many times where I'm like, oh my gosh, all these people are going viral because they're so polarizing and they're so opinionated and they're so maybe like harsh in their messaging.
And we have some strong opinions.
We do, but I always communicate them very lovingly and kindly, and just that's my opinion. And so of course
we're not trying to spark debate in the comments, right?
I'm really not. And that's one of the reasons why I'm uncomfortable posting on TikTok, is because it like breeds negativity. And like for my own, how I want my brand to be perceived, I want my brand to be perceived as always positive, always educational, always kind. And that's one of the reasons why I don't even like, okay, this is like kind of hot goss.
Hot goss.
It's one of the reasons why I'm very hesitant to have guests on the podcast.
Oh my gosh, hot goss. Yeah, because it's like with the podcast, because it's so long form, if a guest says something that's like controversial, we can't be
that
like...
or that I don't think like serves our audience and the messaging that we've been consistent with. Because if I've been consistent in messaging for the last like say...
And then it's 4 years and then a guest comes on and like contradicts that. It's
here's
like...
the thing. I've been so like for the past... I've been an educator for quite a minute. Longer than most people have. Mm-hmm. And... I'm very consistent in where I'm like, mega volume is the healthiest form of lashes. 0.03s are the healthiest form of lashes. Like, you know, whatever. What if I had someone on the podcast that was just like, I lash differently from you. I think the way you lash is wrong. Like, whatever. Of course, we could have like a great debate and everything, but that's not how I've set up this platform. And people don't listen to my Lash 2 Brain Cells to watch a debate or to watch opinions.
Yeah, that
you know,
true.
They come to my Lash 2 Brain Cells to learn Elliot and I's opinions and like what we have to give based on like our own experiences in business. And so of course I'm going to have guests on the podcast one day, but I'm going to vet them very heavily, not to make sure that we agree on everything, but to make sure that they have the same like missions and values, and they can offer our audience as much like positivity and value.
Yeah. And I think the values is the most important part. Cause like, even if someone like your example, if someone like had thought that a different style of lashing was better, I don't think that would be that big of a deal if you had shared values. And like your goal
but
was
honestly, I struggle in this industry to find people that I have very shared values with.
There's a couple. There's a couple. I got them in mind.
And I love them dearly.
I love one of them.
But there's a lot of, we're going to have guests next year, you guys.
We're going to have a couple. We got one in mind. Oh,
it's hard.
I hope she comes on.
It's hard. I think there's so many amazing people in this space, but it's like, I want people that really, really like share our level of like passion and love for what we do and what we preach here.
Facts.
Yeah. And that bar is very high. That's what I'm saying.
It is very high. There's not many people there.
The bar is high.
I had something else I was going to say. I forget what it was.
Also, I don't want podcast guests that like, I want some podcast guests, but I don't want like weekly podcast guests because I don't want the episodes to...
This isn't an interview podcast.
And also...
And it's a lot easier to get more content. Like, from a podcast host perspective, it's way easier to make one of these every week if we're having guests on.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you just research the guest a little, you figure out some good questions to ask them, and then like they do all the heavy lifting because like they got their thing. But one of the most difficult parts of having a podcast where it's just us is like, honestly, if you listen to a lot of educators, most of their education revolves around like one or two or three main things. And like all the content they make kind of is part of that. And so like I found this to be the case online where I'll find like a new like educator online. I'm like, wow, this person's so smart. Like I love their content. And then I'll watch like, you know, a few videos or listen to a few podcasts of theirs. And then after like 10 or so podcasts, I start to think like, oh, yeah, I kind of get the gist. I get their whole thing. I've heard all of their thoughts, and now they're kind of just repeating them. And that happens with a lot of people. And we honestly try our best not to fall into that and always have like new content
Something
for you guys.
Fresh,
because I know that most of the people listening to our podcast are listening to most of the episodes.
Yeah.
So I don't want to have episodes be like repetitive. And that's one of the reasons that we don't put out more episodes than like we do. Yeah. Like the optimal cadence for releasing podcast episodes is like 2 a week.
Yeah.
But we just don't have enough content to do 2 a week
we're
without
2 guys.
we're just 2 little guys.
Yeah.
And so without getting repetitive, like we're trying to max out like how much we're trying to maximize like the quantity of useful information.
And I get asked to be on a lot of podcasts, and I say yes to podcasts where I think there's going to be like value brought by both parties. Like I was on Lashcast, love Lashcast. I've been on multiple podcasts, but I get asked to be on podcasts all the time. I got asked to do one today.
Really?
The people didn't even follow me, Elliot.
Cringe.
They didn't even follow me.
Cringe.
They were like, hey boss, we really want to just like hear how you got your start and you know whatever, and give us a call, give us a Zoom. And
what if it was like one of the world's biggest podcasts and you're just like, you don't follow me? No.
Yeah, it was this guy named Alex Hormozy.
Yeah. And that guy sounds like a loser.
No. And I was just like, you know, I don't want to spend a couple hours telling people how I got into lashes when these people
have no idea what lash extensions are.
It's just like, I only want to bring people on our podcast eventually when they have either done something that is so revolutionary to my world, I know nothing about it, and I want to, and my listeners are going to want to.
Well, and the thing that can happen a lot when you do those types of podcasts where it's like, how'd you get your start in lashes? It's like, it's going to be the same story every time.
It's literally always a little different.
Yeah, it's like a little different.
Yeah.
But like with Alex Hormozy, he's like this big business guy. Love him. But he's been on like a ton of podcasts where the first question is like, how'd you get started doing this?
Yeah.
And his story, it has to be the same every time because he only got started in one way.
It is.
But like, I stopped listening to like his guest appearances on other podcasts because I'm like, I'm just going to hear the exact same thing that I've heard 20 times already because they're going to ask the same questions.
Yeah.
So that's a little insight into the behind the scenes
why
of
we
the
don't have
podcast.
weekly guests. So just know next year if I ask you to be a guest, you are very special.
We love you.
We love you.
And then We have a list of some things that people can do to build their brand.
Yes, we do.
So here.
Give me the list.
Madison will take you through this.
Give me the list.
Take it away, Madison.
What did you put? Some things you can do to build your brand. We have 6 things. Number 1 is high quality photography. And a lot of people wanted ideas for what that means, because high quality photography, that's not just like, okay, taking selfies with a high quality camera, or, taking pictures of your clients with a high
Just because you got an iPhone 15 doesn't mean that all your photos are high quality photography now.
Yeah. For high quality photography, I would be taking photos of what you want your clients to envision when they think of your brand. So if you want them to think of a brand that is like young and youthful and colorful and sparkly and Bratz doll, and just like it's giving Y2K, it's giving, like girl boss energy, it's giving early 2000s, whatever. You need to be taking photos.
It's giving Snooki,
whatever it is. That was just my example. Really, really think of the vibe that you want your clients to feel when they look at your photography. So for me, if you look at my photos, you're like, well, what vibe? Because my photography is very simple. Is I want people to think of like a clean, elegant, elevated aesthetic. I want them to think of models or clients that are happy and beautiful in their own way, and
honestly, the way we pick models is we just want them to look nice. We want them to look like nice girls.
I just want them to look kind.
Like
nice.
that's literally like, we just look and then we're like, does this girl have kind eyes? If so, like, literally, you can be a model.
Literally. I just
like, we're not doing the like Balenciaga like scary models.
Yeah, exactly. If that's your vibe, great. But for me, I kind of look at like what Rare Beauty does with Selena Gomez, or where it's all very light and lighthearted. Ooh. It's all very light. It's very dewy, very fresh, very kind,
very authentic.
And if you were to have like a conversation with me in person, it would kind of match the vibe of what I showcase in my work and my photos. Mm-hmm. High quality photography. A lot of people want to know, because we take it ourselves, what camera we use.
The camera that we use, so the camera you use, I would like to preface this, and I know this isn't the answer you want. I'm going to tell you the answer you want, but the camera you use is not as important as how you take the photos.
Yeah, period.
Like, you can take...
But people ask, they want to know.
No, absolutely, and I'm going to tell them. Yeah. But while I have them here on the edge of their seats waiting to know what camera we use, I just want to point out that you can get high-quality branding photos with your iPhone.
1,000,000%.
You just need to light them well. Yeah. And the other thing, too, lighting is more important than the camera you use.
1,000,000%.
Like, to an extent, using a better camera is going to help you get better photos. Like, we had a way older camera that we used for going independent, and then we upgraded to our new camera, and all of our courses instantly look better because we were upgrading from a camera that was like 8 years old to one that was like, top of the line, like brand new. So our camera that we use is a Sony A7 Mark IV. So it's like A7 IV, like the Roman numerals. Yep. And it's very good. It's a really good camera for photo and video. However, it does cost like, you're going to be all in for like $3,500 once you buy the camera and the lens that you want. And that's just with like one lens. We've probably spent like $7-8 grand on camera equipment,
and all the lighting we use is from B&H.
Yeah, we use a lot of B&H stuff. And if you want really, really good lights that are pretty
people
affordable,
people ask me every day. I really want to give them an answer.
Okay, the lights, honestly, I love these lights. They're the Aperture Amaran lights. So if you just like look up Amaran, it's AMARAN on like Amazon, or they have them at B&H. Get one of those lights. Get one of the X series. So it's like we have the, what is it, the 100X and I think the 200X. We have the 100X and the 200X. The 100X is like less powerful. I would recommend getting like an Amaran 200X, and then get one of the like Aperture light domes, or get an Aperture lantern, which are like modifiers. They're like the big like soft boxes that you see us put on the front of the lights. Just get like an Amaran 200X, put a big lantern, like the biggest soft box you can get. So like the light dome, they have like a bunch of different sizes. I would just get the biggest size that you can afford / like fit. And then you can just like, if you got the soft box, like the light dome, you could just stick that right, like you sit down, you have the softbox right in front of your face, and you have your camera right between you and the softbox, and you have it all like as close to you as you can without like starting to look all like fisheye, like your nose looks super big. Like, you want your lens to be, okay, here's the other thing too. I hope you're taking notes because I'm like hitting you with a lot of information here. But you probably want to use a lens that's like at least 35 millimeters. If you're using like a full frame camera like the Sony a7 IV, if you're using a crop sensor like an APS-C camera, so that would be like generally cheaper cameras are like crop sensors, so they have like a smaller camera, then you can get away with like 28 millimeters, but I would recommend probably like a 35 millimeter lens or more, so like 35 millimeters or 50 millimeters. If you want to get like a 50 millimeter prime lens, that's a really good way to get like a cheap lens that looks really good. So if you're getting the Sonys, you can just get like the Sony 50 millimeter prime lens, or you can get like a Sigma 50 millimeter prime lens. It's going to be like a cheaper option that's also really good. And just take the camera, stick it right in front of you, have the softbox right behind it, and basically the closer you get the softbox to your face, the softer the lighting is going to be. As you move the softbox farther away from your face, or you move your light farther away from your face, your lighting is going to get more harsh because it's going to be more of like a point, right? And so you want your light to be really, really close to your face. So like when we take photos of our models, like we can take a picture of the setup next time, but we have our lights so close to our model. Like our lights are like on top of our model.
It's toasty in here.
Yeah, it gets really warm.
I'm sweating.
Have big light on the left side of our model, and then a big lantern like kind of on top and to the right.
Guys,
and that's like
we put in work to get those pictures and courses for you.
Yeah, we do. And then we have a couple other lights that we add just to kind of like fill things out. Like we have a light pointed straight at the background just to make the background lighter.
Just so it's not dark.
Yeah, and then sometimes we'll fill the right side of their face with like another softbox, but really we just like you just want a lot of light really close to their face. That's like the big thing. And you don't want like direct light. So you don't want to just point like say you buy a Amaran 200X, you don't want to point that directly at their face without having any sort of softbox or anything on it, because it's going to look super harsh. It's going to look really, really bad. So lighting is just as important, if not more important, than your camera. And so if I was like someone who I was like, I have $1,000 to spend on like camera and lighting equipment, I would look into buying like I would probably buy lights first and just use my iPhone. And then I would spend probably a few $100 on lights. I think you can get the Amarans for like $200, something like that, and then get like a nice softbox.
Okay, what if you have $500 to spend on camera?
500, I would just buy a light. I would just buy an Amaran like 100X if you can't afford the 200X, and the biggest softbox you can afford.
What about a $100 budget?
$100 budget, I would buy a ring light.
$5
$5. You can't buy anything for $5.
A Nintendo DS camera.
For a $5 budget. Okay, $5 budget. Oh, you know what? Actually,
free.
Free. No. Okay, free. Okay, how about $5 budget?
Okay, yeah.
Or could I do $10 budget? Is $10 budget okay?
I just want there to be options for everyone.
Okay.
Because I know some people are literally lashing in like a basement. They're like, I want to take great photos, but like I literally have my
Here's
iPhone.
what I would do if I had like a $10 budget. I would go to Home Depot. I would buy one of the work lights that they have. They're like it's like you can either get, so the cheapest way to do it is they have these like metal, I forget what they're called, but they're like clamp lights or something. It's like a metal dish that you just screw a light bulb into. It's like a silver metal dish. You screw a light bulb into it and you can just plug it in. And it's just, that's a light. I would do that. I would get the brightest light bulb you can find, like that's in your budget, right? And I would screw that light bulb into this little dish.
You're so
and
creative.
then I would point it. I would hang up a white bed sheet on.
Oh, yes.
I would hang up a white bed sheet on like whatever you have lying around to hold it up. And then I would point that light bulb directly at the bed sheet. So the bed sheet would like soften it and just put that bed sheet right in front of your model's face.
Yeah.
So I would have model and then right in front of them bed sheet, and then position the light behind that. You could even have it on the ground, like just pointing up, just prop it up on something, and then have the light kind of as close as you can get it to the bed sheet to make it like as bright as you need it to be. And yeah, that's like the cheapest setup I can think of.
Yep, that's great. That's so
And if
creative.
you need it to be brighter, I would get like 2 or 3 of those.
Oh, that's so creative.
So yeah, so
I
those
love that
are.
you thought of that because I didn't actually have an answer.
Oh well, that's what I did when I was in college because I didn't have any money.
Wow.
So I did that.
What were you taking photos of?
I did senior photos. That
Oh
sort of
yeah,
thing.
no, Ellie did a little photography and videography. When
I was just into it.
Yeah, Ellie did concert photography, you guys.
Yeah, I got some sick photos of John Bellion and 21 Pilots.
Yeah, he really did.
Sick.
Yeah, Elliot did great photography and videography. But yeah, basically things you should be taking pictures of. Obviously, great work. Obviously, lashes. Obviously, yourself, your space, your face, your products, everything like that, and everything a client can expect. But really, really get creative and go on Pinterest and look up.
The other thing with getting high quality photography is like, let your clients touch themselves up after their set and like, or you touch them up, and just make sure that like the lashes are in like good shape. Focus, and like there aren't wispies in front of their face. Like so many people, they take the lash photos, their client just sits up and they immediately take a lash photo and they're like, why are my photos high quality? It's like, glam them up a little bit.
Well, literally, I give my clients 5 minutes after it is hot in here.
Yeah,
we got all these lights. But no, after I even not like models or paid models or anything like that, but when I do a full set and my clients have signed their video consent form and everything like that, and you know, we've had the conversation like, oh, can I get some really good photos and post them? And they're like, yes, of course. I always say, if you want to do any touch-ups or just like run to the bathroom really fast and brush your hair, totally take your time. I don't want you to feel like rushed or, you know, deer in headlights, and that gives them a minute to just be like, oh my gosh, thank you for letting me put chapstick on and brush my eyebrows out. It makes them a lot more confident on camera.
It makes your models like pose better too and like look better because they feel like more confident. They feel better about themselves.
But I have a little like makeup station in my bathroom with, you know, my disposable makeup wands and everything like that, and I'll touch them up if they don't bring makeup or anything. I'll be like, do you want a little gloss, little brows before the photos? And they're like, yes, please, like make me slay. And I'll, you know, do that for them. It takes a minute, but it really does. Number one, makes your clients more confident, and it makes your photos look a lot more polished.
Like I would say doing that makes a bigger difference than spending an extra like $3,000 on a camera.
Yeah. If you're wondering what I do, I brush their eyebrows up in place, gives them a 5-minute brow lamination. I gloss their lips or just put a little chapstick, goes a long way. I highlight the tip of their nose and the top of their cheekbones and right above their brow bone. If you look at all my photos, my models are lightly highlighted. And I have a brush. They brush their hair. And I make sure that their jewelry is all in place, that there's no clasps showing. And if they have jewelry that's like not on brand or it's like really colorful or whatever, then I like put their hair in front of it, or I make sure that it's out of the photo.
Or would you say, hey, take it off?
If they are wearing like a red shirt or something that is not going to look good in a photo of mine, rather than trying to fix it in post and having it look crazy,
you just put it below their shoulders.
You either put the shirt like kind of off their shoulders, or you take your white fuzzy blanket and I put it all the way up to their neck, and it looks like they're just in a cloud.
True. Facts.
True. But I would really get creative with your branding and look at Pinterest. And what I do is I actually screenshot photos from Pinterest that I want to recreate, and I put them in an album, and I say November, December, January. And I know in November, December, January, when I take my photos,
like this is what we doing.
This is what we're doing. This is the poses we're doing.
Easy.
You kind of teach yourself how to pose, how to style things, how to, you know, showcase what you do to the people watching you. Like now that I do a lot of stuff digitally, I make sure that I'm taking photos with my laptop and my camera and my microphone. Like I make them know that like I am a creator. This is the things that I do to create, right?
Yeah. And Madison has so much practice now. Like when she sits down to like start getting pictures, she's just like new pose every like 2 seconds.
Instant. And people are always like, how do you know how to pose? Like, did you? And I'm like, do I look like I've done modeling?
No. I'm 4 feet tall.
I'm 4 feet
They don't
tall.
hire us.
No, I'm built like Danny DeVito. No, but they don't hire people like me.
They don't hire people like me.
No. Yeah, when I'm all dolled up, girl, I can get glam. But when I'm without my hair and makeup and everything, girl, humbling.
Your Danny DeVito core.
Humbling. But I really know how to pose just because I've been taking my own branding photos for so long.
Yeah.
That
she's quick with it.
And when I do have a photographer, I don't want to waste their time, and I don't want to be awkward, and I want to get it done.
Yeah,
and I would go on Pinterest and I would look up things that inspire you, and you can look up, you know, branding mood boards. And also the other thing is, once in a while when you do hire a photographer, I would really get creative with your shoots, because everyone is going to be taking, you know, pictures and videos of them working on a client or anything like that. But if you have more of like a Western brand, literally put your bed in the middle of a field.
Oh my gosh. If you have a Western brand, your branding is so easy.
So easy. I would be in a white flowing dress.
Cowboy hat.
I would be in the middle of a field.
Cowgirl boots.
Yes, I would have my clients in a cowgirl get up. If I had more of like a goth brand, oh my gosh, that'd be so easy. I would be dripped out in just black metal and lace and, you know, dark makeup. And there's so much like beautiful gothic vintage, you know, stuff that you can thrift and backgrounds you can thrift.
Be a thrift queen.
Yeah. See, my brand is very white and clean, so I gotta really get creative with it. I gotta keep coming up with
most of the
things.
thrifted stuff is too stained.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's all white. And I also want to touch that brand is not just colors and a logo. Obviously, those are the basics, and you need colors and a logo, but that's not everything.
I hope this episode has helped you realize that.
Hope so. Your brand is what people think of.
No, you're going back to the beginning.
Oh, did I go back to the beginning?
You'll go to there.
I'm sorry, babes.
No, you're good.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
I'm a little tired.
Oh my gosh, so same.
I need a little nap.
You guys, we woke up at like 7 a.m. this morning because
I'm so tired, you guys.
We got home from a wedding last night. I went to bed at like 1:30, and then I wake up at like 7 a.m. to Madison saying, "Oh my gosh, this is my worst nightmare. This is my worst nightmare. I hate this."
I woke up this morning and Instagram decided to delete my account, which is genuinely my worst nightmare.
She opened up Instagram and it said, "Your account has been suspended."
And everyone on Facebook was like, "Why did Maddie delete her account? Do you think Maddie deleted her account at 5 a.m?
This is Maddie's pride and joy. Why would she delete it?
Do you think the thing Maddie spends 9 hours a day on, I woke up one morning in the middle of our Black Friday sale.
The middle of the biggest weekend of the year.
We're spending $400 a day on like Instagram advertising. Like, do you think I nuked my account at 5 a.m?
Literally all the ads broke when they suspended her. Thing. We had to like restart the campaigns. It was such a nightmare.
No, someone made a fake account of Lightheart Lash.
And then they banned the wrong one.
Yeah. And they were like, "Sorry, we made a mistake." And then
we appealed it, and then it was like 10 minutes later they like reversed it and she was back in. But it was a scary 10 minutes.
They deleted the fake page and kept mine, but I was like, oh my gosh, what a heart attack.
Oh, it was terrible.
So guys, I'm sorry I'm a little
sleepy. So we didn't
sleepy.
sleep too much.
Sorry if I'm a little EP and I'm repeating myself. But after high quality photography, consistency, consistent work.
Yes.
And consistent photography.
Yep.
And consistent messaging.
Yep.
Is going to be incredible customer service.
Yes.
And that really, really plays a role in your brand, not just your customer satisfaction or anything like that, but it's how people view your brand. And so a lot of brands, unfortunately, they get known for poor customer service.
Yeah. Because that's a lot of people. That's the only interaction. I mean, almost everyone, the only interaction that they actually have with you is like your customer service interactions, like them messaging you and saying, "Can I book?" And them afterwards saying, "Hey, I had this issue." Yeah. And then how you handle those things, that informs people's entire perception.
And it's crazy because like I'm a consumer of lash products, obviously. And so I can name off the top of my head how I view every single brand's customer service. Mm-hmm. I know if they have an amazing team. I know if it's a group of people. Mm-hmm. I know if they do it through Facebook groups. I know if they do it through a chat robot, which is fine. I know if they do it through DM. I know if it's the owner. I know if it's an assistant. I know what is going on. And so it's like your customers are smart. And whatever it is, whether it's you, an assistant, a virtual assistant, a chatbot, an email, calls, whatever it is, make sure that it's consistent. Because you don't want people running around being like they're hard to get a hold of. Like, I don't know who reached out to me. I don't know who, like, I meant to email for this. You want it to be consistent. So figure out what that is. And it's okay if it isn't you. And it's okay if it's not 24/7. But whatever it is, even if it's an assistant Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
As long as it's consistent.
Yeah.
That's all people want. They want to know.
And as long as it's clear, like, what people can expect. If you have an assistant that works Monday through Friday and, like, gets back to people, as long as you, like, make it clear to people, it's like, hey, we do customer service Monday through Friday these times. Like, you will get an answer.
We'll do our best then.
And then if someone reaches out during those times, just be quick about responding to them.
If you're listening to this podcast, you know how we do customer service and how we've done it for the last few years.
It's literally just us.
It's literally just me.
It's you message us or you email us our info@lightheartlash, and then that goes to my email address.
Or my email.
And then we say, we'll help you as soon as we can.
And the moment we get it, we reply. And if we are on vacation or whatever, then I say, oh my gosh, let me get back to you by end of day or tomorrow or the next day, or I make a promise and then we get back to you then. How it is. But it really matters. And I'm grateful that that's been part of our brand, is incredible customer service. Because eventually when our brand grows,
potentially,
however it might, who knows? I don't know how it would.
I don't know how we could grow from here. We just had the biggest Black Friday of all time.
I don't know what else is in store, but when it does grow and plant seeds, and they grow flowers, and I don't know what's going to come from those flowers or what's going to happen. I also will, and it grows beyond myself, I will put people in place that care about customer service the way I do. Yeah.
Facts.
Because people are used to getting a DM back in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah. And so if we hire people to do customer service, we're going to be like, hey, this is the bar.
This is the
bar
standard.
is high.
Yeah. Q&A feedback. Q&As, feedback, and reviews are great ways that you can build your brand.
Yes.
Because this is how people hear your voice and hear what other people are saying about you. So Q&As are great. You can do this on your Instagram stories to start off with, and you can make them into reels or post them on your stories. And you could do like weekly Q&As or weekly like ask the lash artist, ask the lash educator, whatever. And be intentional about it rather than just saying ask me anything or ask me questions about my life. People might be like, who's your crush? Like,
yeah. But give them a specific
who do
prompt.
you like? So yeah, when I do Q&As, I always say, what do you want to hear about from
Blank.
our podcast and why? Or, you know, what do you think about this? Or what do you want to ask lash education related, mega volume education related? Very, very, what do you have questions about salon suite related, you know?
Facts.
Making it very, very specific. So if your thing is, you know, you're an educator and you want to start teaching lash classes, I would say, what questions do you have about lash extensions that your first training didn't answer?
That's a great question.
What is a question that you have about lash extensions that you don't see being taught?
Facts.
You know, and then teach people for free on your stories.
Yeah, if you want to become an educator, fastest way to build a brand as an educator is by educating for free.
For free. And
to
then
the people who follow you on Instagram.
By the time you have trainings, people are going to be a lot more confident that you're going to be able to teach them something that they're paying for, rather, you know, even more than what you've been giving away for free. Feedback is super important with a brand. And then reviews, obviously, don't shy away from them. And how you respond to reviews and feedback publicly really matters. And one of the things that has been consistent in my brand, and this is also I want to loop back around, is why I'm not super comfortable yet having a ton of guests on the podcast, and is because I don't like conflict.
What? Shocker.
And so that's one of the reasons why, like with feedback, I'll never be combative.
Yep.
And so you'll see that across the board. So if you look at like a review someone left for like our business or feedback or something in a Facebook group, I'll never delete it. I'll never be, you know, like, haha, okay, your loss. Haha, okay, that's your opinion. I'll never be combative or snarky or anything. I will always be very polite, short and sweet, and that'll kind of be the end of it. And I'll figure out a way to make it right. But I really, really can't do conflict, and that's just who I am as a person. And it keeps me up at night. And I know some people thrive on it, but like I really value having a peaceful life and a peaceful mind, a peaceful home, peaceful relationships, friendships. And so part of my branding, if you think of Lightheart, you don't think of drama. You don't think of conflict. You don't think of enemies.
You think of nice girls.
You think of nice girls. And so I truly, to my core, like if I was to ever get a comment where someone's like, your lashes are ugly, you know, some people would reply and be like, haha, okay, well, your mom. You know, or like, I don't know, that's stupid, but like, haha, okay, like you're ugly, or like ugly people leave ugly comments or something. But I try generally to either, you know, be very kind in return, or, you know, delete it if it's just too stupid to even like engage with. But yeah, I really think how you handle feedback and reviews really, really reflects on how you build your brand.
Yep, facts.
Yeah. Consistent brand image, and this
staying consistent is very important.
Yes. One of the ways that I like to be consistent is to create a brand board or a mood board, and you can take pictures from you know, Pinterest or wherever. You know, back in the day we used to cut them out of magazines and put them on a piece of poster board, and these are your brand boards and what you want your imagery to look like, and get as creative as you want with this. If you are like me, you'll probably want to print them out, cut them out, put them on a bulletin board to look at and interchange. I personally, now that my content is slowly starting to elevate, I love a lot of makeup artist mood boards, like famous makeup artists. Like I'm looking at like Charlotte Tilbury, Makeup by Mario, Patrick Tom. I'm looking at like the kind of imagery, you know, they're creating and thinking, okay, now how do I do this with lash extensions? And so really, really thinking of like people you admire and people you look up to, and how you can put your own spin on, you know, things that you find beautiful and relevant to your brand. And lastly, and I think most importantly, is being authentic on social media and being authentic on your socials without oversharing or overstepping.
Because being authentic is the easiest way to stay consistent. Because like if you are
because it's you.
Yeah, if you're being yourself, then you don't have to worry about like keeping a consistent image, because the image is just like who you are.
Baby.
Exactly.
You roll out of bed and you're the image.
Yeah. So being authentic, like you don't have to be like, you can craft a like persona, you can craft an image, you can craft a brand that is like divorced from who you are as a person, but
it's gonna be harder.
It's a lot harder
to be consistent.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually know some lash artists that own brands, and they literally use a fake name.
Yeah.
And they
and you can do that, and you can be successful.
Curated to be different than the real life.
That's just so much more work.
It is, and it's almost like they're stepping into this onto this stage, when they get on their socials.
And if you try to become if you want to become an educator or a larger brand, it is going to be a challenge down the line, because as you grow on social media, it's much easier to grow as a person than it is to grow as a brand, because people don't want to follow brands. People want to follow people. And 10 years ago, brands could grow on Instagram, but today people are so over. When was the last time you saw everyone freaking out about something that the Wendy's account posted? That was a thing in 2012, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, Wendy's Facebook is so crazy." But no one cares anymore. No one cares about businesses on social media. You look at Nike, they do social media very well, but everything that Nike does on social media is about their athletes. It's about the people, because the people, their customers, their audience cares about people. They don't really care about the Nike brand. They only care about the Nike brand because it is associated with great people.
Yeah.
And so being a person on social media is a much easier way, and a much, I think, better way to grow than trying to grow just a faceless brand.
Yeah. So a little bit of myth busting with personal branding that I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, there are do's and don'ts with this.
A couple of don'ts is you don't have to overshare about your personal life or vent to your followers and customers.
You shouldn't vent.
Yeah.
No.
And it's I see a lot of people do it, and I will never judge them for it. And I, it breaks my heart, when people are going through a lot, and sometimes, the people online are friends, and I totally get that. But if you're trying to get into something like education or product, or, maybe you want to be a leader or have a salon or salon suites, people are going to remember the time that you were crying online about, maybe something that is for a more close group of people.
Yeah. Use your Finsta. If you
post it online, use your Finsta.
Exactly. If you need to talk about it, if you need to vent,
page.
Yeah, keep it on your personal page. Have your business page be authentic, be real, but not be intimate.
And you can share what's going on in your life 1,000,000%. I share what's going on in my life, and and I share when I'm going through a hard time.
Yeah.
Especially
but
if it's,
I think we talk about it in a way that it's not
I want people to feel less alone, and it's okay to be a business owner and also be dealing with something, but I'm never going to come online and be like, "Oh my gosh, this beehole that came into the coffee shop today, she ordered the wrong drink and then she demanded a new one. And oh my gosh, people are so stupid." Because people are going to remember.
That's a true story.
No.
I'm kidding.
But it's people are going to remember if you rant or complain about something that irritated you, because how are you going to run your own business if you're so irritated with, happening around
you? Especially, and I hope that no one feels called out by this, complaining about clients on your social media, because then what are the other clients going to think?
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. If you're complaining about one client, then your clients are all going to be self-conscious and be like, "Oh, I hope I didn't do anything weird that they're going to complain about me next."
Yeah. Personal branding, another thing that I want to bust is people are like, "Well, they say to show your life, but what if I have a life that, is in this," I've heard it, people are like, "That's ordinary or average, or it's not glamorous, or I don't have a big house, or I don't, go on vacation all the time, or I'm a mom, my life is messy and always covered in stains and whatever."
I would say go on TikTok right now and follow Matthew Allen and Delta Ray.
Oh my God.
Go on TikTok right now. These are the most likable people I have ever seen on TikTok, and they live the most normal life.
Beautiful life.
They are fantastic. I love them.
And actually,
they're awesome.
He just followed me back today.
Yeah, Matthew Allen just followed Madison back.
I follow him. They're the most normal, kind, humble people, but they are so. I'm not even kidding you guys. You will have no idea who I'm talking about. But
no, we are the only people who follow these guys.
If they have one fan, it's me.
Yeah, true.
And they're probably like, "Why did this lash business account follow us?"
Right.
But they're just this couple from the South, and they're so grateful for everything that I am their biggest fan. Yeah. And so I'm like, your life, I don't follow.
They're just good people.
I don't follow a lot of lavish influencers like I do if I'm getting my Christmas shopping on. But if I'm just day to day, I like following people that they have the same values, because yes, our life looks different. I am a woman in Scottsdale that owns a beauty business, and they are parents in the South that like work in retail and like they make meatloaf and like chili and they have like they like cook meat at night. But I follow them because I want to be like them in the sense of their attitude.
Yeah.
Like
they're so grateful and so humble.
And I would be happy to trade places with them in a heartbeat. Because like I love their life, and people don't care how your house looks or how your like body looks or how your hair looks or how everything looks. Like of course aesthetic is one thing, but if you're trying to build a personal brand, you need to get that like out of your head that your life needs to look perfect.
Yeah.
Just stop waiting for your place to look perfect because, back when I was in Alaska, I'm like, oh, when I lived in Arizona, I'll start posting more. Well, then we moved to Arizona. Well, I'm in this apartment and it's kind of dark. Well, then we get a new house. Well, the walls are blue and it's kind of small.
Yeah, the walls are kind of gray. That's the place we're at right now. Madison was like, the walls they're white, but it's like a gray white. It's not on brand.
No, guys, there's always going to be something stopping you from, you can't wait till your life looks perfect because it's never going to look perfect. It's your life. Never. It's your life, You do not need to showcase, a luxurious lifestyle and make people jealous of you to have them relate to your brand.
That's so true. Because, like, honestly, that can be off-putting. If your goal on social media is to, like, flex, especially if you're, like, a service provider and your goal is to, like, flex.
Yeah.
If I was a client and I was looking at a service provider and all they were posting online was them flexing, then I would be like, their prices are probably too high.
Yeah.
If they're making all this money that they can just like flex online, like I must not be getting a good deal.
Yeah.
And like I am not against people. Like obviously our entire goal with this podcast is for you to raise your prices and like make more money and get fully booked. But like I'm just gonna tell you right now, if you're trying to get clients, flexing on social media, like no matter how much money you're making, is not a good way to get more clients.
Yeah. Now that I've gotten older and my like taste has kind of refined, listen, I love nice things. I'll love a nice thing more than the next girly. I love nice things.
I love nice things even more. I'm the bougiest guy around.
Ellie's the bougiest guy around. But
Madison makes fun of me for it.
But I don't want people to think of nice things when they think of light heart. I want them to think of nice words.
Nice
people.
Yeah.
Big hearts.
Yeah.
I want them to think of what we do and what we stand for more than like an image or a lifestyle or whatever. Because like at the end of the day, we're a married couple that started out as a lash artist and an engineer, and we want to help people that were in my position, make great businesses out of what they have. Mm-hmm. That is what it is. And so it's like people don't follow me because of like my lifestyle. I just show what I'm doing every day and what my life looks like no matter how it looks.
Yeah. I think a lot of people follow you because you're nice to people.
I really truly try to be. And then the other thing is you need to run your business under your personal name.
Yeah.
And if you're like super uncomfortable with that, and you want to just have like, if you're, I want to sell products and I want to have a brand, like it's okay if you want to distance yourself and like have a family life and a personal life and, and be somewhat separated. Mm-hmm. Like mine's definitely not like that. Mine is definitely like Maddie Morris, Light Hair Lash, Maddie Morris, Light Hair Lash.
Yeah.
But I want to let people know if they're building a personal brand, it's okay. And it can still be a brand that, that emphasizes your values without having your face and name everywhere.
Yeah.
Like if I had like 3 or 4 kids and I just didn't want to be in the spotlight and I wanted, to hire a team of great people and I started a brand, I'd probably like want to step away a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. Well, and the thing is too, like as you scale, so you're saying like you don't need to associate your personal name.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
In the beginning, definitely.
Yeah. In the beginning, like if you're a service provider, I think you definitely do because people want, like it makes people way more comfortable booking with you if they know who they're booking with.
1,000,000%.
Right? Like I would be scared, especially if you're like no matter whether you're home based or not, like or if you're like at salon suites, I'd be kind of scared like going anywhere just having booked with a business and then having like no sort of like idea who the person is who I'm actually going to be seeing. Like it makes a lot of sense to associate it, like just have your name out there and just be like, even if it's not your last name, just be like, hey, I'm Maddie.
Yeah.
It could even be a nickname.
Totally.
Like, doesn't matter.
In the beginning, it's important, but down the road,
but as you grow,
don't feel a pressure that you have to be.
Well, and the thing is too, like if you're like, say you scale your business to the point where you're like, oh, I want to sell this and like, I want to move on. I'm like done. I want to retire. Like, and obviously this is going to be way down the road for most of you. It's way down the road for us. Like we have no thoughts about this, but it is a good idea to eventually, like if you ever think about, wanting to sell, you'll need to extricate yourself from being like the face of the business. You'll need a new face of the business because like if you sell it, you're not going to be there anymore. So in order for your business to have like enterprise value and be valuable after you sell it and like be valuable after you're gone, like it has to be, you have to fully remove yourself from it. But like that's a lot farther down the road than most people are. Yeah. But like for some people,
I'm trying to have people think long term.
Yeah. I mean, because the thing is like, obviously we're not even close to the place where that makes sense, but we have like a tentative plan for like what that will look like when we like scale to the point. Cause like, I think it's a lot better to have a plan for something that may never happen than to have something happen and then be like, oh shoot, I wish we planned for this. Right. 100%. And so like, if we see things start going towards the direction where it's like, okay, we might want to sell this in like 5 or 10 years, then we'll be like, okay, what does it look like for us to start stepping away and putting the processes in place and putting like a new face to the brand that, because I think here's the thing too, no matter how big your brand gets, like you need to have faces for your brand. Like
faces.
Like Rare has Selena Gomez. Yeah. And like if she was thinking about selling it, she would be putting someone else in place to be the face of it.
Well, celebrity brands are one thing, but it's like
celebrity brands are one thing. But like I said with Nike, like there are faces to the brand. Like Michael Jordan was like biggest face of the brand of all time. Michael Jordan made Nike more money than any other person in the history of the world. Like insane. And so like you just it's something to think about like way down the road, but like, Yeah.
What I do want to touch on lastly is what
I love how we said this was going to be a half-hour episode because we were both sleepy.
How long is it?
Hour 10.
Aw.
That's so sweet. We just love you guys so much. We just want to give you so much info.
I like hearing Elliot's voice.
Aw. You're so through the headphones. It feels like ASMR.
It does. I love you. You're so handsome.
That's me kissing
you. It says smooching. Oh my gosh, PDA, put it away.
Ew, yucky.
But what's more important than those things with your personal brand, like flexing and oversharing and being, like
posting cringe on main,
whatever, is creating a set of values and showing up as those things every day, and being very consistent with it.
Yeah.
Are you on your phone?
I got a message.
From who?
From one of my friends.
Who? Your other wife that you're doing a podcast with?
Yeah.
No, sorry.
That's my side podcast.
My side host.
Yeah. Check out my side podcast. It's called Ellie After Dark.
Ellie After Dark.
With my side host. That's funny.
But yeah, I think what's most important with personal branding is showing up consistently, as yourself and make sure your messaging is intentional.
Agreed.
And positive.
Agreed.
And that it markets towards your ideal client.
Yes.
Yeah, I market towards the nice girl, so I try to show up as a nice girl every day.
Branding.
Branding. Very good.
And in conclusion, branding.
Yeah.
Whew. Well, I hope this was helpful. I'm eepy. I'm going to go take a nap.
I'm exhausted.
Oh,
what
same.
a day it's been.
What a day. Today drained me.
You're going to take a nap. I have like 45 DMs I have to get to.
Today drained me. I woke up, was stressed. Then we got takeout breakfast food. And then Madison did our besties lashes.
Yeah.
And then we did this.
Yeah.
What a big day.
It's been a very big day for Elliot because he had to eat breakfast and then film a podcast.
I did. I had to eat breakfast and film a podcast.
Yeah.
Well, and I was stressed for like 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, you were.
We both were.
Yeah. Okay, well, we love you guys so much.
Love you so much.
Here's the thing is your brand evolves over time. So give it time.
And that's the thing too, is it's like
a flower, water it.
And start. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just start. Mm-hmm. And then it'll grow over time as you grow, but it can't grow if you don't start.
Yeah.
Period.
And if you have done something that you like regret in your business and you're like, oh, I really want to change my image, it's not too late.
It's not too late.
It's never too late. No.
Just try to make it like stick this time.
Yeah, but I mean, for real, if you've started something and you're like, oh my gosh, I really think maybe
it doesn't have to be perfect, but just like be intentional.
Yes.
Right?
And people love to see growth.
Yeah.
They really do.
True. That's the thing too, is like if you did something and then you're like, ooh, that was cringe. And then you like change it up and you do something that you like a lot more, 6 months from now, you can talk about how
you can use
you can talk about that story, and then that's content.
That's content.
That's
baby.
Content.
That's called personal growth.
That's called personal growth. Everyone loves
personal growth. You can make those
growth.
personal growth reels where it's like that personal growth reel where it's like where it's like,
remember when they used to doubt me? Well, they ain't doubting now. And then you like step off of a private jet or something.
No, not at all. Yeah, like it's okay for your audience to see you like, you know, in an area of your life and in your business and your brand where you're not evolved. Maybe you're, you know, posting things online or blasting your clients or, you know, whatever, just whatever it is. And you want to evolve and rebrand yourself. It's perfectly fine, you know, and people will be there for the growth. They'll be cheering you on, but be, you know, intentional about it and be honest about it.
True.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Oh, Elliot's standing up, you guys.
I'm standing.
Okay. Love
I'm
you
ready.
guys. Smooches. We'll see you in the next one.
Love you so much too. Bye.
Bye.